Good morning. On behalf of Mayor Scott Galvin, all the elected officials here today, Larry Giuseppe, the Veteran Services Officer of the City of Woburn, and myself, George Poole, Commander of the United Vets Council, would like to welcome you all here today for Memorial Day. At this time, I'd ask that you join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I would request that all veterans render the traditional military hand salute during the Pledge of Allegiance and also during the taps and the national anthem at the end of the program. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Order, arms. Color guards, parade, rest. Well, good morning. This is Memorial Day. This is a day that we stop to remember. We do not celebrate. It's a day about all those that gave their lives for our country. It's not about any of us here today. It's about the 347 names on our memorials here, the ones that have the stars, the names that are honored on our special honors. Right behind me, the Civil War Memorial. Today it is about them and nobody else. Daniel Thompson lived at the corner of Main and Clinton Street. On April 19, 1775, he left his home at the corner of Main and Clinton Street and went to Lexington in hopes that someday that we might be a new country and a free country. In 2007, Master Sergeant Keith Callahan gave his life for our country on his 4th deployment in Iraq. Today is about them and all the names in between, all our great American heroes that gave their lives in defense of our freedom. We always need to remember that, and we always want to thank them for that. There was a recent remark that I heard that was from President Reagan, and he talked about those that gave their lives, their 2 lives that they had, the life that they gave for their country, and the life that they did not have, to have their hair gray old, get good old gray and old like mine, and also not to have children and not to have grandchildren. So today, not only all those here in Woburn, but all those throughout our land, today we honor them for the great sacrifice that they made. And if there are any Gold Star family members here today, to you we want to say thank you for the loss of the loved one of your family member, the great heroes that gave their lives for our country. And now it gives me great pleasure to introduce the Mayor of the City of Woburn, Mayor Scott Galvin, to share a few words on Memorial Day. Mayor Galvin.
Thank you, George. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. For all of us here today, it's a solemn day, but also we think about what we've all been through in the past year and a half with the pandemic, and it's really so nice to see everybody out here today, spread out with no masks on, as we head back to the new normal. So everybody here deserves a good pat on the back for the perseverance and what you've done to get here. So thank you. And today, as George said, with Memorial Day, it's a day that we pay tribute to all those families and their loved ones, the loved ones who went to war for us, fought for us, to give us all these liberties we have that we sometimes take for granted. But for those families, for those men in the military, those women in the military who gave their lives to us, we can't say enough. And I look around and I see some of the families now too, whose sons and daughters are serving in the military, and to them, that's the greatest thing that the children can do. So thank you, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor Galvin. We're honored today. We have 2 students from Woburn Memorial High School that are going to be in our program today. And this time it gives me great honor to introduce Colleen Curran. Colleen is a sophomore at Woburn Memorial High School. She's interested in government, and she's going to read the governor's proclamation for us today. Colleen?
Whereas, while the nation was still recovering from the horrors of the Civil War, People in cities and towns across the country gathered to honor those Union and Confederate soldiers who had given their lives, celebrating the first Decoration Day. And whereas, after World War I, the nation came together again to honor those who had fallen in the service of their country. Renamed Memorial Day, the last Monday in May is when people remember and honor the memory of all men and women who fought and died in all American wars and conflicts. And whereas, throughout our country's history, thousands of Massachusetts citizens have fought in wars and conflicts to defend our safety and way of life, and whereas their legacy of patriotism and dedication to country is an inspiration to all Americans, and whereas it is appropriate that all Massachusetts citizens remember the bravery of those who gave their lives so that their sacrifices serve as a reminder of the cost of our freedom, now therefore I, Charles D. Baker, Governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, do hereby proclaim May 31st, 2021 to be Memorial Day, and urge all the citizens of the Commonwealth to take cognizance of this event and participate fittingly in its observance. Given at the Executive Chamber in Boston this first day of May in the year 2021, and of the independence of the United States of America, the 244th. God save the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
Thank you, Colleen, for that great job. Our program would not be complete if we didn't have a little music or some song from Joanne Campbell. And now it's a great honor to me to have Joanne Campbell invited up to do the Armed Forces medley. Joanne.
First we'll fight and to ride and to build the nation's might, and the armies go rolling along. Proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won, and the army goes rolling along. Then it's hi, hi, hey,
Thank you, Joanne. You always make us veterans feel so great when you do the Armed Forces medley. Thank you. About to have a reading of the Logan's Order. The Logan's Order comes from 1858 from an organization called the Grand Army of the Republic. The Grand Army of the Republic was a veterans organization formed right after the Civil War. And a lot of people feel that was how Memorial Day started. There are controversies as exactly how it started. But what General Logan is asking, he's asking the departments. A department is a state. Today, the Veterans of Foreign War, the DAV, the American Legions, we're in Massachusetts. We are known as the Department of Massachusetts. So he's asking the departments to go out and put flowers on the graves of their fallen comrades, and refers to the Civil War as the late rebellion. So when it is read, you will get to understand that it was written in 1858. But it's a tradition that we do here in Woburn, is the reading of Logan's Order. And prior to that, I just want to introduce the person that's going to do it. He's a student from Woburn Memorial High School. His name is Denelson Lopez. Denelson came to the United States from Guatemala 5 years ago. He's interested in international government. He is a junior at Woburn Memorial High School. And at this time, it gives me great honor to introduce Denelson and invite him to the microphone to read Logan's Order. Denelson.
The 30th day of May, 1868, is designated for the purpose of strewing with flowers of otherwise decorating the graves of comrades who died in defense of their country during the late rebellion, and whose bodies now lie in almost every city, village, and hamlet churchyard in the land. In this observance, no form or ceremony is prescribed, but host and comrades will in their own way arrange such fighting services and testimonials of respect as circumstances may permit. We organize comrades, as our relations tell us, for the purpose, among other things, of preserving and strengthening those kind of and fraternal feelings which have bound together the soldiers, sailors, and marines, who united to suppress the late rebellion. What can aid more to assure this result than by cherishing eternally the memory of our heroic dead, who made their breasts a barricade between our country and its foe. Their soldiers' lives were revealed of the freedom to a race in chains, and their dead a tattoo of rebellion, tyranny, and arms. We shall guard their graves with sacred vigilance, all that the consecrated wealth and taste of the nation can add to their adornment and security. It is but fighting tribute to the memory of her Islam defenders. Let no wanton food treat readily on such a hallowed grounds. Let pleasant pet invite the coming and going of reverent visitors and found mourners. Let no vandalism or avarice of regret, no revenge of time testify to the present or to the coming generations that we have forgotten as people the cause of free and undivided republic. If other eyes grow dull and other hands slack and other hearts come the sullen trust, our shall keep it well as long as the light and warmth of life remind us. Let us then, at the time appointed, gather around their sacred remains and garland the passionless mound above them with choicest flowers of springtime. Let us raise above them the dear old flag they saved from dishonor. Let us in these solemn presents renew our pledges to aid and assist those who they have left among us in sacred charges. Upon the nation's gratitude, the soldiers and sailors' window on orphan. It is the purpose of the Commander-in-Chief to inaugurate this observance with the hope it will be kept up from year to year. While survivor of the war remains to honor the memory of his department comrades, he earnestly desires the public press to call attention of of this order and lend its friendly aid and bring to the notice of comrades in all parts of the country in time for simultaneous compliance therewith. The permanent comrades will use every effort to make this order effective.
Thank you, Donaldson. They're going to have a reading of the honor roll of the deceased veterans that have passed away, that we're aware of, that passed away since past Veterans Day. Please announce. Elizabeth M. Graves Pickett, World War II. Jenny Josephine Macri Salamoni, World War II. Vincent Belakevich Jr., Vietnam. Mark A. Callahan, Gulf War. Joseph L. Callahan Jr., Vietnam. Paul J. Carreri, Vietnam. Edward J. Carrigan, World War II and Korean. William J. Carrigan, Vietnam and Gulf War. Boniface Cavallaro, Korean. Anthony Joseph Gradoni Jr., Vietnam. Charles L. Collins, World War II. William F. Conley Jr., Vietnam. William P. Cochran, Vietnam. Matthew A. Cummins, peacetime. David C. Cummings, Vietnam. Edward Robert DeSalles, peacetime. Frank Devarich, Korean. Richard Dodge Sr., peacetime. Ronald J. Donovan, Vietnam. Charles Joseph Douglas III, peacetime. Joseph C. Fayette, Korean. Wilbur Cruz Ford, peacetime. Richard J. Haverty, Korean. David Haverty, Vietnam. Paul L. Hennessy, Korean. John E. Jackson, Korean. Bernard LePage, World War II and Korean. Frederick M. LeBert, Vietnam. Eugene A. Leonard Sr., World War II. Charles J. Chucky Masterson Jr., Vietnam. Joseph Edward McCabe, World War II. Francis Xavier McCall, World War II. John J. McCormick, peacetime. William Paul McDonald Sr., Korean. Elias Morales, peacetime. Victor F. Mondello, Korean. John J. Murphy, World War II. Adam C. Nigerian, Korean. Retired Woburn Police Department Officer Robert Charles Palmacci, Vietnam. David M. Paradas, Vietnam. Dominic C. Panaccio, World War II. Manuel M. Pereira, Vietnam. Robert H. Powers, Korean. Felipe Roman Manos, Vietnam. James Colley Romano, Korean. George Francis Rooney, Vietnam. David J. Ryan, peacetime. Joseph M. Savoya Jr., Vietnam. Clifford A. Smiley, Korean. Edward B. Smith, World War II. Raymond D. Sturgeon, Korean. Francis J. Sullivan, Vietnam. Virgil Venti, Korean. Edward P. Wells, Korean. John Albert White Jr., World War II. Wesley Rayner, Vietnam. And retired Woburn Police Department officer, Angelo Joseph Piazza Sr., United States Marine Corps, Korean. And may they all rest in peace. You just heard me read the honor roll of 55 veterans. And the last name I read was the name of Angie Piazza. About a year and a half, 2 years ago, and I believe it was John Devine started a movement to have our newly constructed railroad bridge on Salem Street named after Angie. If you knew Angie, Angie was a very unassuming person, an unbelievable professional police officer, and a great hero in Korea during the Marine Corps. What he did during the battles in Korea, not only for fighting the enemy, but for saving his comrades, was heroic. This past November 12th, the new railroad bridge was named after Angie. And Angie was able to be there with his family, his friends, his retired and active police officers, many veterans, and many residents of the city of Woburn were there for the honor roll of the dedication of the bridge. Sadly, Angie passed away shortly thereafter. That would not have happened if it wasn't for the efforts of Richard Haggerty getting the bill passed through the State House to have the bridge named after Angie. So Richard, on behalf of you and all that helped you, thank you so much for what you did. I know this is a very reduced program with the virus situation. We really don't know what we could do, but it looks like we're going to be moving on, and we should be back to our regular format on Veterans Day. We're now going to have a fire in the volley from the American Legion Post 101, followed by taps, and Joanne Campbell will return the microphone to sing the national anthem. Riflemen, when ready, fire 3 volleys.
Say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the peril
Thank you once again, Joanne. In closing, I have a few thank yous to give out. I'd like to thank all the volunteers that put out the flags at the cemeteries, particularly the crew from the VFW Saturday. A lot of us got wet, but you know that's what it's all about, to honor those that gave their lives for our country. Many flags were put out at both cemeteries. Charlie Culhane, thank you for assisting decorating the United Veterans Council veteran squares throughout the city. The DPW and the Parks Department for their assistance today. The Woburn Police Department, the Woburn Fire Department for providing us with safety and security while we're here. And the students here from Woburn High School, both Denelson and Colleen, thank you for the great job that you did. As Mayor Galvin mentioned earlier, I know there are a number of you that have children and or grandchildren that are currently serving in the military. I know some of them are deployed to foreign countries. To them, please say thank you for their great service to our country and what they're doing, the sacrifices they're making, and also the sacrifices that you are making with your children and grandchildren away from home. This does conclude our program today. As I mentioned, hopefully Veterans Day we'll be back to having a parade, have the bands, and just getting back to a normal life that we've missed for the last year and a half. Once again, the services today have now concluded. Thank all of you so much for being here today to remember what Memorial Day is all about. See you in November. God bless all of you, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you so much.